fans, and welcome to the first official episode of the Boopcast. We are your hosts, SheNoob and...
Cory.
We were literally just having a debate about how to start the podcast.
You always start it so abruptly, so this time when it happened, I was like, oh, okay.
Alright, yep, we're doing this. So, Ruby Volume 4 has finally premiered. And it was amazing! And we need to talk about it.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
So, there's actually quite a lot of things that we've both got written down. So, Cory, do you want to start us off?
You always ask me that, and I'm never ready.
I don't want to start. You can start. I'm just going to bring up Twitter real fast. Oh, before we do start, I just want to remind everyone that as far as questions for the podcast are concerned, you do actually need to follow Cory and I on our Twitter and Facebook in order to post questions. The pilot episode was a one-off just because we both did reactions beforehand so we could say, hey, post us questions. But because we're not going to be doing lead-in videos to the podcast anymore, you need to follow us on social media to put your questions in. We haven't got any so far today because I think people forgot that they need to actually follow us in order to post the questions. So, but anyway, I think we'll pretty much cover just about everything regardless. So, also, another thing I want to say before we start is that you may notice by the timestamp that this video has gone a little bit over time. A lot over time. We realize that there is absolutely no way that we're going to be able to fit everything we want to talk about into 1 hour. So we'll probably go for just over an hour and a half, and hopefully not any longer than that. And let us know in the comments if you would prefer us when we start having guests on the show, because then we'll have a third and fourth person to talk to about things. English. It's early, sort of. So if you would like the episodes to run closer to 2 hours, if you guys would be okay with that, just so we can cover everything. Off you go.
Okay. So, I guess we should just start at the beginning with the first shot of the episode being the Grimm emerging from the goo.
It was so good.
That was so gross.
It was disgusting, yeah, but I could not get over how good the animation looked. I've literally got written down here, animation OMG. That's like the whole thing. But yeah, they started this episode off in a place that we never expected. Diving straight in with the plot.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting the teaser for this episode to be the start of the episode. So when it starts with Singer's faction, I was like, or Salem's faction, I was kind of like, oh, okay, we're starting here.
Yeah, I think I said it in my reaction, which the reactions are coming out a week late because we have to wait for the episodes to go up on YouTube. So they will be a week behind. But I think I mentioned in it that I was like, oh my god, they're like going straight in with this and revealing a bunch of like really important stuff that we've all been wondering about all year. So that surprised me. I was like, well, okay, jump straight in. I'm cool with this. This is good. I like. Also, speaking of which, we have to talk about Cinder. Cinder's alive.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't think she was dead, to clarify. Neither of us thought she was dead. But because the dragon was frozen on the top of the tower by Ruby's power, we didn't really know what that would do to Cinder. So she's been a wild card up until now. Ruby screwed that girl up.
Oh, yeah. Like, you and I both thought that, like, Cinder coming back would be a big reveal at some point. Or finding out what Ruby did to her would be a big reveal. We didn't think we were going to see her for a while, let alone in the premiere, like, right at the beginning. Literally the third character we see. But, yeah, that was huge. That was a big surprise to me. It took me ages to realize. I was staring at it like, huh? Am I really seeing this? I didn't even realize... Yeah, at first I didn't even realize that it was like current timeline. Like I thought, based on how she looked, I thought it had to be a past thing.
Yeah,
because she had short hair in the flashback last season. But then Emerald and Mercury looked the same, so I was like, wait, is this a future thing? But no, it's like present timeline thing.
It was all very confusing, and Emerald and Mercury looked a little bit weird at the start. I was a bit like, it was a bit jarring, but we think it's just because they're in their old outfits with their old models in the new art style, whereas everyone else has gotten a different look, so it's not as jarring. But yeah, no, they looked a bit funny. But yeah, Cinder, do you know, I hated Cinder's short hair in Chapter 7 of Volume 3, but I really like it in Volume 4, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like...
I mean, it's different.
It is a bit of a different style, and I think it suits her better. The other one kind of made her look really, like, juvenile, but this one looks really good on her.
Because she kind of was.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, so whatever Ruby did to her, she no longer has her left eye, and she can't much use her voice either, which is interesting. So my guess is that the reason she wasn't affected by it in the same way the dragon was is because the Grimm don't have souls and Cinder does, so she has an aura that would have more or less protected her from death, but it still didn't protect her from serious injury. So we know the extent of what Ruby's capable of now with her powers, but she's probably not going to be on the path to discovering that anytime soon. I feel like Crow is going to be the one to open that sort of path for her becoming a silver-eyed warrior.
But one thing I want to kind of bring up is Salem mentioned when in talking about the fact that Cinder is still a Fall Maiden, that being the Fall Maiden opens her up to,
comes with a great weakness.
She has new weakness.
Yeah.
And so I can't help but wonder, these silver-eyed warriors are supposed to, strike fear into the hearts of Grimm. So why is it that it seems to have some effect on the maidens as well?
Dunno. I guess we'll find out more about that. But, I mean, nobody can have that great amount of power and not have some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Some kind of catch with it. Like, there's always a catch. I think that... still on the beginning of the episode, so Salem says that Cinder has killed Ozpin. Now, I don't think Ozpin is actually dead.
No way.
I just think Cinder thinks that she killed him. There is no... Yeah, there's no way. He's still
Ozpin
out there somewhere.
Let her believe that.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think Ozpin did let her think that she'd won. Maybe to try and get one step ahead of them. And work from the shadows. So, yeah, he's definitely out there somewhere. There's no way that Cinder killed him. If he is actually dead, I'll be very surprised. Let's put it that way.
No, there's no... never believe someone's dead till you see a body.
Or until they get incinerated into a million bits. Thank you very much, Cinder, you bitch. I don't eat, Cory was like, the dude who was berating Cinder, what's his name? Dr. Watson?
Dr. Watts.
Dr. Watts, right.
Yeah,
I keep thinking Watson because Sherlock, yeah. You are all like, you don't like him because he's being mean to Cinder. I'm like, bitch killed Pyrrha! Unforgivable! Hello!
Yeah.
But, you do get a little bit attached to your villains even if they kill your favorite characters, so...
I know.
Yeah, that pretty much covers the beginning. I did like the kind of creepy little bit of divide that played when Salem walked in. I sort of expected it as well. But it kind of puts to bed all the debate over the song. Because, some people were like, it's not from the perspective of Salem, that's stupid. But it is clearly from the... Yeah, I know!
There are direct lines from her.
Yes, you listen to the words and they are direct lines. And it's like, When It Falls was the same thing. It's not from the perspective of Cinder, but it contains lines that she spoke at the end of Volume 3, at the end of Chapter 9, PvP. So it's not from her perspective, but she... Well, yeah, anyway, you get the picture, but... Yeah, the divide thing was cool. And I noticed at the start, and I said this in my reaction as well, that when the Grim was coming up out of the goop, the score that was playing there was the same notes that played in the beginning of the song they released for Grim Eclipse. What is that song called? Lucis Notori. Which is from the perspective of Dr. Mallow, the villain in the video game, which I thought was interesting. Yeah.
But I think that Merlot's song was based on the pre-existing kind of Grim theme.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's all like general, Grim sort of. And then I was also wondering if the goop that the Grim climbed out of was the same kind of stuff that the dragon was dropping at the end of Volume 3. I'm not sure, but it reminded me of that.
It seems like it because it has the ability to spawn Grim.
Yeah, exactly. They seem to apparate from that substance, whatever it is. So that kind of confirms what I was thinking about Salem being the one behind the Grim. We don't know for sure that she's actually creating them. They could just be kind of there, but yeah no, definitely something going on with that. I think that covers the beginning. What's next?
Well, we haven't even talked about the new characters they've introduced.
Oh my gosh, Hazel. Yeah. Okay, so Tyrion, Hazel, and Dr. Watts. Right, yeah, so who the fuck are they? That's a good question. Tyrion's really creepy.
Really creepy.
Really creepy, and Salem sent him after Ruby now, which is not going to be very good. we don't know what he's capable of, so we don't know what kind of match Ruby would be for him.
He seems to enjoy killing, though.
Oh, yes. Or gouging people's eyes out.
Yeah, that too.
I'm really worried now that Ruby's actually going to lose an eye. Like, I feel like they're setting this up. I feel like they're setting this up. It's worrying me.
I don't know.
I mean, they already took Yang's arm. I wouldn't put it past them.
But a lot of people were drawing parallels to the fact that Cinder took Amber's eye. Mm. So an eye for an eye kind of thing. A lot of people are drawing that parallel.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Cats are banging on the door. Yeah, I did notice that the scars on Cinder's face near where her eye used to be they kind of reminded me of the scars on Amber's face. But I think that's just supposed to be like a symbolic sort of parallel that they're drawing there. But
yeah.
Dr. Watts and Hazel we don't really know much of yet. I think when I saw Hazel in my reaction, I called him Wolverine. But I actually meant to say Beast, not Wolverine. The blue guy from X-Men. God, what is his name? Yeah. I can't remember.
No, it's not. It's Knight something.
Yeah, I can't remember, but he kind of reminds me of him. Same beard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're interesting. Hazel seems pretty chilled out. He doesn't seem like a particularly malevolent person, just somebody that's on the winning side, I guess.
Yeah.
He seems like a kind of just go with it sort of dude. Not really that fussed about who wins or what, as long as he's there. Tyrion's super duper creepy. And who's the other one? Dr. Watts.
Dr. Watts.
I keep wanting to call him Dr. Watson. Yeah, he seems like a bit of an asshole, but apart from that, we don't know really much about him either. So
yeah.
Where has she sent everyone? She sent Hazel to meet with Adam Taurus. Oh, that reminds me.
And Sienna Khan.
Sienna Khan. So there was insinuation in what Salem said to make it seem like Adam is not actually the leader of the White Fang, that this Sienna Khan woman is. Which is interesting. Meowing cats. Oh my gosh, they're going to drive me insane.
Yeah.
So looking forward to see what develops in that area. Because I'll be very interested to see if Adam actually answers to someone.
I know, right? It's kind of weird to think that he would.
Yeah, I mean, like, why hasn't he, like, all the shit that he's been doing, like, he's hell-bent on exacting revenge on Blake for a start. He's a complete psycho. Why would she want to keep someone like him in charge?
Yeah. Especially because he seems to have a lot of autonomy. Like, it's kind of weird that, like, when we found out that he might not be the leader, I was like, really? Because he seems to, like, kind of make up his own orders and everything.
Yeah, he doesn't really seem to be the type to follow orders at all. So, but now that I think about it, like, all through the volumes, whenever we've heard anything about Adam, mostly through Blake, it's never actually been stated that he's the leader of the White Fang. When Blake is telling Sun about her story, way back in Volume 1 at the end, she says 5 years ago their leader stepped down and a new one took his place. But she doesn't, like, that. Yeah, it's interesting. I never even thought about the fact that it's never actually been said that he's the leader. We've just always assumed it.
It makes a lot more sense why it was easier for Blake to get away.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine the right hand of the leader of the White Fang leaving and the White Fang not pursuing? That's
very true, yeah. Everything's kind of clicking into place now that we've been given that piece of information that's like, oh, actually, yeah. Like, it never has been confirmed. We've just been assuming things this whole time. Yeah. But, well, it was the same thing with Cinder. We thought Cinder was the big bad mastermind until Salem came along and we're like, oh, she actually answers to this person. And so do these three other people.
I thought she was I knew she had to have somebody.
Oh, well, there's always, like, they always make you think that somebody is the big bad guy, and then there's always somebody behind them that's the actual big bad guy. But, you know, I think that pretty much covers the beginning. I
mean, I did just quickly want to answer your question you asked earlier that, where she sent everyone, and she sent Dr. Watts to meet with an informant in Mistral.
He's going to Mistral,
sent Hazel to meet with the White Fang, and Tyrion after Ruby.
Right, so...
And Cinder staying with her for further treatment.
Tyrion and Watts are both going to be going to Mistral then, at some stage, because Ruby's in Mistral. So, doesn't look like anyone's going to end up in Vacuo anytime soon. Which is interesting, because if what we saw from the intro, the Yang is in Patch still, Weiss is in Atlas, of course, Ruby's in Mistral, but Blake is in Menagerie. Not Vacuo, like we assumed. So, which makes sense. I mean, her family's in Menagerie. Her family is so cute! I can't wait to meet Blake's family. Okay, speaking of which, we need to talk about Sun Wukong. Because that boy has got some explaining to do. Why on earth is he with Blake and her family on a ship in the ocean surrounding Menagerie? What the heck is going on? Because if we all remember, he told Yang that he saw Blake nick off at the end of Volume 3. But now questions are being aroused by this, which is, did he, was he telling the truth and he just tracked her down later, or did he actually go with her? So, I don't know, because Blake was on her own when we saw the shot of her jumping across the roofs in Vale at the end. So I'm thinking maybe Sun, like, tracked her down later. Or maybe he went to Menagerie because he figured that would be where she would go. I don't know.
Or, who knows, maybe he is a stowaway. Like, maybe Blake just needed help getting out of Vale.
Maybe, yeah. There's a lot of questions that have been raised by that intro, so... Another question I had from that intro was in Weiss's bit, there's a boy that has white hair and blue eyes that looks like he could be a Shnee, but he's dressed to look like a servant or like a God, what do they call the?
He looks like the help.
Yeah, he looks like the help, but he looks like a Shnee. So I'm like, is he a younger brother? Is he a cousin? Or is he just nobody who happens to look like a Shnee, which I don't think is very probable. He's definitely got the Shnee look for a reason. So I definitely think he is a Shnee, but it's a question of, is he their brother or their cousin? Also, lack of winter Shnee in the intro.
Yeah.
No winter. So, where is she at?
Yeah, I know, right? Especially because we see Ironwood.
Yeah, Ironwood is in there.
Like,
He's
Ironwood
behind Mr. Schnee, yeah.
Which took me a few viewings to realize that was Ironwood.
I know, because he's in the back and he looks really different. I didn't recognize him. But
you can see the salt and pepper hair and
the salt and the little thingy
thing
above his eye, yeah. Yeah, I don't... There's a lot of questions that need answering. Lots of questions. I feel like Yang's storyline is probably going to break our hearts this volume for a little bit. Until she gets back on her feet. Looks like she's kind of suffering from some sort of PTSD, which is expected. She did lose an arm.
Yeah.
But I just hope that she... I don't want Yang to be suffering for too long. I want her to get back up and kick ass. Like she always does. It's just... it makes me sad. Okay, so moving on. What did we see after the... Oh, it was the boy, wasn't it? The farmer boy. Who has no name at this stage. But there's a theory going around the internet. Which Cory knows something about, if you want to...
Yeah. So, I primarily saw this theory going around on Tumblr. But, there are people speculating that this boy may the fall maiden. Not the fall. The spring maiden.
Spring, yeah, not fall.
Because he woke up after the whole Tyrion talking thing. I mean, the evidence is that, like, he has green eyes and he has freckles. He's a farmer. I don't know. Also, people are suspecting that why some people think this is possible is they are thinking he could potentially be trans. I personally don't really find the theory to be very...
To be honest...
I feel like...
Yeah, I don't feel like there are trans people in the Ruby universe. Like, I don't... Yeah, I just don't see it having a place. I'm sure... I don't know. That seems a bit far-fetched to me.
I agree. Like, it seems... I think it's more likely that this boy is the wizard or a descendant of the wizard and not the Spring Maiden.
I personally think he's a descendant of the Spring Maiden herself. But the only problem with the Spring Maiden theory is that he's a boy, not a young woman. Yeah. So, like, if he is the Spring Maiden, there's got to be something going on there. I personally don't think he is. I think he's a descendant of the Maiden. His eyes are interesting, though, because they're green, but then they've got these little spots of orange at the top, which is, like, interesting choice, and it's probably significant in some way. But, like, I wasn't paying all that much attention to that in my reaction, because I was just so anxious to see everyone else, but, yeah, they definitely haven't shown him for no reason. He's gonna be back.
Yeah. He's an important character.
Yeah, definitely. There's no way that they would dedicate like an entire 40 seconds of the premiere to this random boy if he wasn't going to be significant in some way. Then we got to see Team Ranger for the first time. Team Junior, depending on who you ask. I really liked that they had Nora and Ren debating the two names because it reflects the debate that's been going on in the fandom. So, like, some people say it's Junior and some people say it's Ranger, but it really doesn't fucking matter what they're called. So, yeah, I enjoyed that. I'm also really liking Neith Olm's voice acting as Ren. It's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
He's getting so much better at it. I think doing the Grim Eclipse game probably helped as well. Yeah, he's definitely getting more emotive and getting more comfortable with the character, and you don't even notice that it's like a different voice actor anymore. Because he feels... What I mean is, like, he feels like Ren now. Whereas originally, he felt like the dude who was replacing Ren, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, he's definitely settled into the role, which is good. Considering that he's had no professional experience previously. He's doing really well. And Ren finally got to be not useless for once as well. I mean, he's been not useless before, but he always gets hurt.
Still a little.
He always gets hurt in every fight. He didn't get hurt this time, so that was improvement. Nora's adorable, as always. And so Jaune was in his original outfit for a bit there, and missing his weapon, and that was confusing. I was
so confused.
I know, I was so confused. I was like, where is Jaune's sword? Why doesn't he have his sword? Where is his new outfit? What is going on? I was so confused. What have you got written down about this scene with the golem fight that lasted forever?
Well, I mean, the first thing I wrote down was about the different rounds that Ruby used.
Yeah, the dust rounds.
With lightning and fire, and I'm glad that they're actually starting to show the difference ammunition will have.
Yeah.
Because before it was always kind of a thing, but now they're actually showing us.
She didn't really use it before, yeah, no. The only time that we really saw, like, dust rounds being incorporated into combat was in No Breaks when Blake was fighting Torchwick, and that was really cool.
It was cool.
It was really cool. And ever since then, I've been wanting to see more of it, because it's, especially when you've got a semblance like that, it can be really utilized in very interesting ways. But yeah, using the dust rounds was... I keep wondering how they're affording this stuff, because it can't be cheap. But apparently they're going around doing missions.
They're taking huntsman jobs.
Yeah, they're taking huntsman jobs, so they're getting paid probably... instead of money, they're getting dust or, you know, John's new outfit or whatever.
I mean, I personally kind of think that, like, all of their upgrades... Because when they left at the beginning of or at the end of the last volume, they were normal, and now they're in Mistral, all in different outfits. So I'm kind of wondering if their outfits aren't somehow pieced together from rewards they received.
Yeah. I'm getting that vibe. I think I mentioned this in the pilot episode of the Boopcast, but we were talking about how battle damaged Ruby looked and how torn her cape is. And I was saying it would be weird if the rest of Team Ranger didn't look the same. And they don't. Nora and Ren's outfits are totally pristine. And, like, I don't know what the deal is with that, but, you know, whatever. Nora's rocket jump, I thought was really funny with her rocket launcher, her grenade launcher. Not sure exactly how she did that, but it was funny.
I know, because it was cool.
Ruby's dust rounds. Yep, we did. I'm just reading my notes. I'm like, what have we covered?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the golem itself was really interesting to see. We're getting to see a lot of different types of Grim now, which is cool. So there's not, like, just mammal types. There's actually, like, golems and, you know, other scary shit. But
this one was almost wraith-like.
Yeah. I've written down here that it was like a shade, like, when it came up out of the rock and took off. It reminded me of a shade.
And it is called a Geist, so...
Yeah, a Geist, yeah. That's what they called it. So I'm wondering if a Geist is like a grim entity that can sort of alter its form by attaching itself to things?
Yeah, it's probably their form of a poltergeist.
Yeah. Ha 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 ha. Ha, god damn it, Bob. Okay. Terrible puns. Oh my gosh,
I just put that together right now.
the bit at the end where Ruby like did her spinny thing and grabbed Nora and they were spinning towards that was awesome. But I couldn't help thinking like how dizzy that would make Nora. Because she wouldn't be used to it. Ruby's used to it because she just does it all the time, but that was a really cool thing. I'm liking seeing the four of them work together because it's a different dynamic.
I had a question for you. What would be the name of their attack? Because we have Bumblebee and Checkmate. What would you call Ruby and Nora's?
That's an excellent question.
I know.
I mean, flower power would still work.
It would still work.
It would still work, but Ren and Nora already took that, so like... I
was trying to think of something with like Stormy.
I have no idea. That's a really, like... I don't want to say something lame.
Yeah. Well, I saw somebody online come up with the perfect one. Sugar Rush.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to find that and post it in links in the description, I think. That is so funny.
I saw it in the comments on
That's perfect.
The Rooster Teeth. I wrote it down their name too. It's Kinsaws.
Okay, yeah, that'll be in the description if anyone wants to take a look at that thread. That is so funny. Sugar Rush. I used to call Yang and Ruby hot dog because they're like ketchup and mustard. Because I don't like yellow rose. I think it's lame.
Yeah.
So after the fight, then they go back to the village and talk to the dude. And then they go and get Jaune's new equipment, which is exciting. And so it was teased earlier on that there was something hidden under Jaune's chest plate on his hoodie.
Yeah.
And somebody somewhere said
very
that it was,
early on.
It said that it was his symbol. And we were confused because we were like, isn't the thing on his shield his symbol? But I guess technically it's his grandfather's symbol, isn't it? Because that's his grandfather's weapon. Yeah, so what is hiding under John's chest plate is Pumpkin Pete. And that was hilarious.
Cute little bunny!
It's got a cute little bunny! So funny. I was laughing hysterically at that. That's like, Ruby's laughing like... We never heard Ruby crack up laughing like that before. It's just so cute. Like, every time she started, like, laughing, I just was like... It's one of those laughs that makes you laugh. You know, like Jeff Ramsey's laugh. You can't help but laugh at it. So cute. And when her little feet go up in the air, she keeps laughing. But poor Jaune, though. I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, but the second time, his lip was quivering. And I was like, "Aw, Jaune." It's okay, I like your cute little bunny rabbit. And Ren's like, "We don't have to grow out of everything." I was like, "Nope." Oh, adorable.
There was also the awful irony there with it being Pumpkin Pete and Pura. There was so much...
Yeah.
There was so much about Pura in that scene.
I know. Well, then, after that, they bring out the shield and the big reveal with that the design at the bottom of Jaune's shield is symbolic to Pyrrha's crown, and that they actually melted down either her shield, her crown, her sword, or like all three to used for the accents for Jaune's weapon and armor and shield. And you'll see it in the reaction, but I burst into tears when I saw that design on Jaune's shield. It was like instant tears. And then he's like, where'd you get the medal from? From a friend. And everybody's looking fondly at the shield. I was like, no! It's so sad! Oh my gosh, I've never cried so quickly at anything before. It was just, I was a mess. It was terrible. So look forward to that. Oh my gosh. And then I showed it to Daniel, and he cried as well. And Daniel doesn't cry at anything. He never cries. I looked at him, he's like, I'm not crying. Pyrrha was his favourite character. He's Devo that she got killed off, but yeah, it was so touching in such a tragic way. Yeah. But he looks really good in his new getup. And that's a really sweet kind of thing, because Pyrrha doesn't need her shield anymore, so there's no point in carrying it around with them as like a keepsake.
Memento.
Yeah, may as well get some use out of it. Have it go towards Jaune being able to protect himself better. So, yeah. I mean, just really sad.
And also you incorporated the red sash.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel... Some people are saying that that's Pyrrha's actual sash, but I think they're forgetting that she got incinerated. Incinerated. I'm sorry. Barb. I'm sorry. You started this. But
I know. I started that thing.
Yeah, no, that's a cool, little... It really suits him. And makes him look... The whole look makes him look way more like a professional huntsman. And I'm so glad he's finally ditched the Converse with the left and right on the bottom.
Did he?
Yeah, he's wearing boots now. He's wearing
I still could have swore I saw left and right on the bottom of his shoes.
I don't know. I didn't actually look, but if he's still got left and right written on them, that's just come on, Jaune, you should know your lefts and rights. And the full maiden theme played when they showed the Pyrrha's thing on the shield.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, it was a real soft sort of rendition of the full maiden theme, which kind of became Pyrrha's sort of theme throughout Volume 3. Yeah, so that was really tragic. Made me cry so much. I think... Oh, I forgot to mention, talk about Jaune during the fight with the golem. So he was cracking me up the whole way through that fight, because he was without his weapon, so he was just having to kind of just run around and stay alive. Yeah. When the golem sticks his arm through the tree. His arm is a tree! And his facial expression when the tree catches on fire cracked me up as well. The facial expressions look really good. So we should talk some about the animation and the new art style as well. Firstly, what do we think of it?
I very much enjoy it.
Me too.
I was, like you said at the beginning, I was a little thrown off by Emerald and Mercury, but other than that, I'm enjoying it a lot.
I think actually showing them first was kind of a mistake, just because they're in the same garb, so it was really, really jarring to see them in the new art style. But then everybody else looks fine. So it was just them that I was like, ugh, it doesn't look right because they're in the same, models as before. Technically not, because they would have had to rebuild the models, but yeah, no, I think that was an artistic error putting them first, because it was like, oof, those guys really don't look right. And another thing about that first
Yuri's
shot,
eyebrows.
Yeah, his eyebrows are weird. Yep, people have been noticing that. I mean, I don't feel like we're going to see them much this volume at all. So
yeah.
I feel like it's probably not going to matter that much. And, like, because the fact that they haven't given them new outfits makes me think we're not going to see them much. So, if at all. But, the very first, not the very first shot, but the first shot that shows Emerald and Mercury, which is a reflection in the window, excuse me, I noticed something, which was Emerald's looking out the window and she puts her hand to her mouth, and then it cuts to the shot of looking at them through the window, and then she does it again, but the shot is mirrored. And I'm like, that is so annoying. Like, I noticed it straight away. I was like, that is the same shot, but mirrored and played twice. Oh, it was so annoying to me. I hate it when they do that because they think people won't notice, but I always notice, and it annoys the crap out of me. Like, just, I get why they do it, because, like, there's no point in doing a whole new shot just for that one reflection in the window, but, you know, it just irritates me. Because I always notice when they do that. I think I've pretty much covered everything on my list, actually.
Yeah, I still have a few things.
Oh, we didn't talk about the World of Remnants, either. But we'll get to that. Yeah, so I think the art style looks absolutely gorgeous. I think the show looks so beautiful, and the animation is so much better than it was before. Like, especially the running animation on the characters has always been a little bit. They've never gotten it quite right, but I feel like that they've done well with the running on the characters, and there's far less skating now than there used to be. Yeah, I think it looks gorgeous. I think it's fabulous. It's so beautiful. Like, I couldn't get over how beautiful everything looks, and like the shadows just help so much to make it look so much more dynamic with the proper shadows. So gorgeous. Yeah, what have you got written down there?
Well, one thing was that they talk about that Haven is their next target. The Salem's group. Oh
yeah, the Salem's group. Yeah, we pretty much figured that was where they'd be going next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I also wanted to ask, did that shot after the boy came out of the farmhouse, when it shows like the background or the area around his place, did it look like that crossroads that was right there was where Cinder fought Amber? Because I thought it kind of looked similar.
No, because where Cinder fought Amber, it was a foresty sort of region, not farmlands. Granted, it was a few years before, but yeah, no, it was definitely not the same area. Probably the same continent, I think, but not the exact same spot. Yeah, no, there was definitely trees surrounding instead of farmland. Yeah, that boy's interesting. I feel like he's going to disappear for a few episodes now, and like,
oh, definitely, we're going to forget about him. And then...
Yeah, and then he'll be like, "Surprise! I still exist." Oh.
This kid again.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Nora's upgrade. She got an upgrade for her weapon.
Yeah, that's right.
It's exceptionally useful because with her semblance of being, able to absorb electricity and now allowing her weapon to generate electricity, I mean, she's going to get a huge power boost from that.
Yeah. And we saw, well, she wrecked the shit out of the golem with it too, so, yeah. So the World of Remnants that came out, before the volume, they kind of surprised us by putting up 4 World of Remnants in 4 days leading up to the volume, which I didn't actually know they were going to do. But when I saw the Veil one, I kind of figured that they'd do the other 3 continents. And it makes sense because we're venturing out into the world now, so it would make sense to set some of the lore up beforehand. We already knew that Vic Mignogna was going to be voicing the World of Remnants from the New York City Comic-Con panel. Which makes sense because Ozpin's not around now, so It makes sense for him to be doing it, and I quite enjoyed it as well. I like Vic's voice anyway, so... yeah, they were interesting. It was good to get some sort of world building going on with the other continents, because we've been stuck in Vale for 3 years, so...
Yeah.
Each of the continents has its own flavour, which is... It was cool to see. We didn't get to see any of Menagerie yet, and now we know why, because Blake's going to be there, so... I suppose they didn't want to really... I feel like... Yeah, give anything away.
Blake's story's probably going to tell us quite a bit about Menagerie's culture.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we're going to get to see plenty of Menagerie. Blake's storyline seems to be going in a way I didn't really expect. I kind of expected her to just be spending her time on the run from Adam. But, it looks like she's going to Menagerie to hang out with her fam for a bit. All hell's gonna break loose for her before long, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I still have one question. I have a few questions about her family, because, like, how... much did they know about her involvement with the White Fang? Like,
well, she said she was almost born into the White Fang. So were her parents members, or like? There's so many questions.
I know. I'm so interested for Blake's storyline.
They're obviously a very close and loving family. So, just judging from the intro, they all look very fond of each other. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out. So we only got mostly... Well, we got some bad guys, Team Ranger, and a tiny bit of Weiss at the end of this episode. So next week, I feel like we're going to get Weiss and Blake, and maybe a little bit of Ranger thrown in.
I don't think we'll get Ranger.
You don't think so?
I think we're done with Ranger for a while.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to predict, because we've always had the one unifying sort of story. And now there's so many different areas that the story's gone to. So, yeah, probably focusing mostly on Weiss and Blake next week. Especially because it will be a shorter episode. I enjoyed the length of the premiere. 18 minutes was a good amount of time to set everything up. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Weiss next
she's
week.
our favorite.
Yeah, she's my favorite, so everybody knows she's my favorite. But I just want to... At the moment, I'm just really wanting to get a sense for where each of the characters are at. I'm very anxious to see Yang. And I have a lot of questions concerning Blake. So... And Sun. But I think I'm most anxious to see Yang. I nearly said Yanktious.
Yanks. Oh, God,
that was an accidental pun. I'm mostly anxious for her because I really want to get a sense for where she's at in her head and how much time we're looking at before she actually gets up and gets back on her feet.
Kick some butt.
Yeah. I want to see her new outfit. It looks so cool in the concept image. I'm like, oh, when do we get to see it? She's just, she's going to have some things to deal with first. Even though it has been 6 to 8 months since everything went down. One doesn't just get over losing a limb in the manner that she did.
Yeah.
And then also, on top of that, losing
everybody.
Pretty much all of her friends and her sister going MIA. It's just her and her father now. So one doesn't just get over that. So, I don't know. I don't know what kind of state she's going to be in by the time we catch up with her.
Not a good one.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, poor Yang. I also don't think she's getting I don't think she's getting a new arm this volume at all. Looking at the trajectory of her storyline and where it's starting, I don't think that's happening this volume at all.
Yeah.
So, but it will be nice because it would just solve everything so easily if she got a new arm straight away. We kind of want to see I kind of want to see the struggle involved with dealing with losing not only a limb, but her dominant limb as well. She was right-handed, so...
Yeah. Well, I mean, just all the struggles around, like, you know, even, like, the depression and...
the PTSD.
Abandonment and everything.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she's got a lot of mental health issues happening right now, so, like, giving her a metal arm would not solve any of that.
No, if anything, it would probably just accelerate her to do something reckless.
Yeah.
Without using her head. Also, it will be nice to see a story that doesn't just give the character a new arm, and to like see all the struggles that, like, learning how to fight with just one arm, especially with the fighting style that she used that required both of her arms, and now she's going to have to learn to adapt it. It's going to be really interesting, I think, to see how she develops that over time. I feel like Tai Yang is going to have a lot on his plate where Yang is concerned. And I wonder if, like... Because Ruby just took off at the end of Volume 3. Probably without much of an explanation. So I'm wondering... There was
the note and that's it.
Yeah, I'm wondering where he's going to be at concerning Ruby. Like, does he want to go and, like, go after her? Or does he think, she'll be fine on her own?
I can't help but wonder if he knows Crow is after her.
Maybe. Yeah, there's the thing about Crow as well. Like, I have so many questions concerning Crow, because, like, he obviously hasn't revealed himself yet. So has he just been trailing them this entire time and being, like, the creepy uncle on the sidelines? Like...
Yeah.
Or has he been going, like, taking sojourns and gathering information of his own? Is what I want to know about him. I don't know. He was in the intro, so he's gonna be significant in some form in this volume. Which is good, because I really like Uncle Crow. He very quickly became one of my favourite characters in Volume 3.
The drunk bastard.
Yeah. Well, I just like him. He's just a cool uncle. But he's also, like, he's the drunk uncle, but he also knows how to put a serious face on when he needs to. And he understands his place in the world and his responsibilities. To the maidens, to the world, and to his family. To his nieces. Yeah, I'm also feeling like we're probably going to see a little bit of Jaune coping with the loss of Pyrrha, perhaps.
That's the thing is that I'm confused about, because all three of Juniper, they kind of seemed okay. And granted, it has been 6 to 8 months, like... Some
time has passed.
That is a lot of time to grieve.
Yeah, they've been through the grievance stage, and they've accepted that Pyrrha is gone, and, you know, they can't change that. They all looked at the shield really fondly, including Ruby, so, you know, they're in that stage where they're looking back fondly on the memory of their friend. But it can't be easy.
Think, where was Pyrrha from?
Oh god,
she was from Sanctum.
Sanctum Academy.
But where was Sanctum Academy?
Sanctum wasn't a Huntsman
Academy. It was the Mistral
Academy.
Regional Tournament.
Yeah, the Mistral Regional.
Maybe we'll get some follow-up to that.
She might be from Mistral. But the Sanctum was the combat school that she went to. It wasn't a Huntsman Academy, so we've never actually we've never been told where exactly Sanctum is, but the insinuation is that she is from Mistral. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, but it can't be easy for Jaune, like, the way that the last interaction that he had with Pyrrha, to then lose her after that so suddenly, without so much as a goodbye, or, like, the chance to say goodbye, anyway. He basically, his last moments he spent with her, he begged her not to do it. And she kind of just did it anyway, which, if I was him, I'd feel a bit angry. at that.
Yeah, well, he told Pyrrha how much he hated feeling helpless when his friends were out on the battlefield fighting for their lives. And she literally just forced him away when I'm sure he feels he could have helped her or saved her.
Pyrrha absolutely knew she was going to her death. She absolutely knew it. She knew there was no way that she would ever be a match for Cinder. She was just trying to buy time. But unfortunately, she couldn't buy anywhere near enough time. Well, almost. But let's be honest, if Ruby had gotten there in time to save Pyrrha, what the hell could she have done? They would have both been killed. But Pyrrha's death allowed Ruby to unlock her power, which was the only way that she could have bested Cinder, possibly. So,
yeah, I mean...
and the tower fell anyway.
Yeah, the tower was the tower already down at that point?
Yeah, because Cinder, the dragon knocked the tower down. And that was, like,
that was in the middle of their fight.
Yeah, that was in the middle of the fight. Just before Pyrrha's aura goes down. So, like, if I was Jaune, I'd be feeling a lot of feelings about that. Like, I'd be feeling really angry that Pyrrha knowingly threw herself into her death. And the fact that the tower went down anyway means she died for nothing, basically. I mean, her death had a purpose, and that purpose was to unlock Ruby's power and to put the dragon out of action and to put Cinder briefly out of action. So her death served some purpose, but it didn't serve the purpose that like, the bad guys still won. And if I was Jaune, I'd be feeling pretty pissed off about that. Yeah. But, you know, I don't know that we'll see that much of him reminiscing about Pyrrha or not. I feel like maybe there might be a moment at some point, but yeah, I don't know.
I can't help but feel like they might bump into Pyrrha's parents almost.
Oh, I hope
like,
not. Because they wouldn't know.
I feel... Exactly.
They wouldn't know that their daughter's dead. That would be tragic if they had to tell her parents. Why are you even putting this thought in my head, Cory? That's terrible.
I'm sorry. After I realized that she's from Mistral, I'm like, oh god, they're heading there.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine if they had to tell her parents that she's died? Oh, that would be tragic. Oh my gosh. I've had enough crying over Pyrrha for one lifetime, thank you.
Oh, it's still gonna happen.
I know. Going to the Volume 3 screening was so difficult to watch all of that again. And, like, the fact that they didn't even show anything from Volume 4, I was just like, I felt totally gypped because of that. I was like, you made me sit through all of this again, sit through Pyrrha's death again, and you don't even show me shit. Like, assholes. But, yeah, it was... It's funny how attached we get to fictional characters, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like... one little thing that reminds you of a character that's died can, like, send you into an emotional wreck. But, you know, that's the whole point of stories, is to immerse yourself and treat it like it's real. Or there's not much point, really. Anything to add?
No. I can think of.
No. So predictions for next week.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of Weiss.
Yeah, Weiss, probably Blake as well. I'm wondering about Yang, because I feel like they won't want to leave her until episode 3, because it seems really late, because she is one of the main characters. So maybe she might be at the end of episode 2 for a brief moment.
I don't... maybe if they're... But if they do, it'll be in the same way they did with Weiss, where we don't get anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I feel like Weiss's bit isn't going to be particularly long. I feel like Blake is probably going to dominate the episode.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we at least get to see Yang in episode 2, because waiting for 3 to show her is a little bit like but she's a main character, like, you know. I know that there's a lot to get to, and that they have to squeeze so much in to the same amount of time as the other 2 volumes, but it's going to be a learning curve for them, working out how to cram everything in together so that everybody gets a fair sort of go as far as the story's concerned. But yeah, no, I feel like, Weiss and Blake definitely dominating the episode, and maybe a tiny bit of Yang. And then episode 3 will be back to Ranger, I think, and the bad guys as well, maybe.
Well, I mean, episode 3 will be Yang and...
Oh, Yang, yeah, of course. Yang and Ranger and bad guys, yeah. It just depends on how long the episodes are.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. We need to... Because 18 minutes is not going to be the standard time.
No,
it's probably going to be closer to 12.
Yeah, it's going to be more like 12. And then probably episode 6 will be longer, because it'll be the winter finale. And then, of course, the finale itself will be long as well. So... also, because they do a winter finale now, and last volume, episode 6 was like the big turning point episode where they dropped all of this plot on us, and then the thing with Yang happened at the end. They just dropped
the week they came back.
Yeah, there was like there was some kind of like, there was more than one big event that went on in that episode. So I feel like we can expect chapter 6 this volume to be much the same, in that they're gonna drop a big bombshell on us before they go away for 3 weeks.
I wonder if that's when Tyrion will show up for Ruby.
I don't know. I feel like Tyrion probably isn't going to catch up with her until later on in the volume.
True.
I'm thinking now, because of the trajectory of Yang's story, that maybe at the end of chapter 6 is when she's gonna get up and go, perhaps. But I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to build to that in 6 chapters. Is the only thing.
I know. It's like, once again, we get a taste of how the volume's going to kind of be now, but we still need a few more episodes to really get the rhythm going.
Yeah, well, because there's so many things that they have to jump between, so many different storylines. It's going to take a bit for like us to catch up with how they're going to sort of lay it out. I don't feel like they're going to do the thing where they go, okay, episode 1 is bad guys and Team Ranger and a tiny bit of Weiss. Okay, episode 2 is Weiss, Blake, and Yang. Episode 3, back to Ranger bad guys. Like, they're not going to do that. They're going to...
Yeah.
They're going to go wherever it feels necessary to go. But the first 2 episodes are kind of like, they've got to show everyone in the first 2 episodes. So they have to kind of go in order. But then after that, they can go where the story dictates, as far as the events occurring.
Plus, I feel like they'll try to like kind of tie them together almost the way they did in this episode, where like Nora mentions the Schnee Dust Company, and then a minute later we're with Weiss. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And Ruby looked kind of sad when Nora mentioned the Schnee Dust Company, because like I was at the end of volume 3. I was left wondering, like, how are the 4 girls going to cope with being apart after being together for so long? And like, how often will they think about each other, and will they wonder what each other is doing? And I'm sure they will. I feel like Yang probably not so much. I think she's going to be very much in her own mind, dealing with the things that she's dealing with. I think, if anything, the people she's going to think about the most are Ruby and Blake. She's going to wonder where Ruby went, and why she took off, and she's just going to be angry at Blake for a long time for leaving her, after she took that hit for her. I'm looking forward to their eventual confrontation.
Yeah.
I want to see...
I mean, I do not think the girls will reunite this volume.
Oh, no, definitely not. No, there's just, like, just for the simple fact that there's not enough time to reunite them. Like, they're going to be apart into next volume.
Yeah, there's just I can't see any possible way. I can see ways of a few of them meeting up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe Yang will show up in Menagerie trying to find Adam, but like I can't see really anybody else showing up in Mistral.
I don't think Yang would go after Adam. Because she knows that she's no match for him. Like, he dropped her like it was nothing. So, even when she was at her strongest, he was just like, boop! Bye, bitch. Like a fly, you know? I don't think she's gonna be silly enough to seek out that sort of... she's gonna be too scared of him, I think. Eventually, she will confront Adam, and she will get her revenge, and it'll be sweet. But, I don't know what Yang's gonna do. It depends on what matters more to her at this stage. Does it matter more to her to find out where her sister's gone, or to find Blake and get some bloody answers?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what she's gonna do. She's a wild card at this stage.
I think Weiss is the biggest wild card.
Yeah, I'm also wondering about Weiss, yeah.
She's almost held prisoner in Atlas.
Kind of. I mean, like, I feel like her father is going to go on the sort of protective route now because all of that crap went down in Vale. So he's probably not going to let her... I was thinking at one stage maybe she'll go to the Atlas Academy, but I don't think she'd want to do that. I feel like Weiss, looking at the intro, she's going to be really frustrated being cooped up in her home with her father. I feel like she's going to want to get back out there and find her friends and help them, but I don't know if she will.
I think Weiss's storyline is going to be very... Ironwood's going to play a part in her getting away from her father, I think. And I think that it's almost in the same way that Winter probably escaped from her father.
Yeah, I'm also wondering where Winter's at the moment, and if we're going to see her much or not. I mean, she wasn't in the intro for Volume 3. Oh, yes, she was.
Yes, she was.
She was, sorry, yeah, I forgot. But she was only in that for like 2 episodes, and that was it.
Yeah.
And she was in the intro, and she's not in the intro this time around. So...
Well, I mean, neither is the farm boy. And
no, but that would have been like,
pretty...
who the fuck is that? Like, they showed so many new characters in the intro already, there's probably not any room for him.
Yeah, I know, but he seems like he's going to be so central this volume that I'm kind of confused why he isn't there.
He will be significant. But, I feel like there's no room for him in the intro. Like, they crammed so much into the intro already. And so many new characters. There's just no room for him, probably. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of questions to be answered this volume. I don't know what Weiss is going to do. I really hope she's not going to just sit down and like, sort of just let her father walk all over her. I really want her to stick up for herself.
I know, especially after hearing the song in the Volume 3 soundtrack about escaping from him.
It's my
and all
turn,
the things
yeah.
all the things he did to her, I was kind of like... She finally got away, and now she's trapped again.
Yeah. I just really want her to, like, just not forget everything that she's learned and, like, just stand up for herself a little bit and be like, no, screw you, I'm not going to do that just because you asked me to. At the end of the episode, Klein did tell her that her father wanted to speak to her, and she was like, like, oh my gosh, I so don't want to. But she's just kind of sitting, staring out of her window. I don't think she really knows what to do at this stage.
Yeah.
She's having an internal war. Like, what do I do? I can't just sit here, but at the same time, what do I do? She's got her hands tied.
I have so many questions.
I know. So many questions. And no answers. I feel like we've covered pretty much everything, actually.
Well, the only thing I still have on my list is the actual, like, song in the intro.
Oh, yeah, the song, of course. It doesn't have a name yet, but the working title is Let's Just Live. So, I remember Kerry Shawcross saying that the intro is different from the other intros because the other intros were more about where the volume was going, whereas this one is more about where the characters are at right now. Which you can see in the... I mean, there's elements of, like, where they're going in that they've shown the things that the characters are going to be doing. But the song is very much like, let's just forget about everything for a while and just, soldier on kind of thing. And that's definitely what Ranger are doing. They're going out and they're taking jobs as professional huntsmen, even though they're 1 year into their training. But they're more than capable of doing those things as a team. They're not capable of doing it individually yet. But as a team of 4, they're definitely capable of taking on missions as professional huntsmen. And I mean, the things that they've been through probably were more than sufficient training for for going out into the world and being professionals. So, but that's definitely what Ranger are doing. They're like, okay, so we want to get to Haven Academy and find out what the heck is going on. But while we're doing that, we may as well help people along the way and get some cool stuff out of it. Because that's what huntsmen do. So, yeah.
I don't know. I like the lyrics of the song because it's, it kind of shows, especially, I feel like it's especially important to Yang and Weiss because they are both, like, they're both dealing with issues, and it is kind of a thing where it's like they just have to remember to take it one day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of
like... also, I mean, even with Weiss, like, being trapped, it's let's just live. Like, if she can, actually take that on board, maybe she can actually get away from her father.
I think after everything that happened at the end of the volume, all of the characters are having to take a step back and really figure out what's important to them. And, like, of course they want answers. They want to find out why everything has happened and who is behind it all, and they want to put a stop to it. But at the same time, they're like, so we just lost, like, a couple of our friends, and now we need to take a step back and reevaluate really what is important to us and whether or not we want to, which path they kind of want to take. And I'm liking where Team Ranger is at. Just kind of, we've got this one main goal, but we're not in a hurry. Like, let's just, do our job along the way. Which is good. Because I'm glad, because the other side of that would be, like, total fixated on the revenge path. Like, we have to get to Haven and kill the bad guys. Like, but, I feel like also it was a reality check for them that the people that they're up against are formidable, and that if they want to take them down, they're going to need some help. The 4 of them isn't going to be enough. So,
I mean, literally the first line of the song is that they thought it was a fairy tale.
Yeah.
And, they're realizing life is so not perfect.
Yes. In a very cruel way, but they probably, the reality check was good for them, because now they're sort of like, okay, so they felt like their lives were going to be, once they graduated, they were going to be huntsmen and huntresses, and it was going to be awesome, and they'd get all the girls or boys or whatever you're into, and And, like, you know, it's going to be the ideal life for them. But then it all came crashing down and they're like, oh shit, well, actually, life doesn't always work out the way you expect, and it throws things at you. Like, that even happened to Pyrrha with the Four Maiden thing. She said that like, what would you do if something happened that you never expected? And, like, it had the potential to uproot your life. And that's pretty much what that entire Fall of Beacon was for the rest of the characters. It uprooted them. And now, like, they've had to go out and make their own ways in the world. Much earlier than they thought they would have to.
Yeah.
And it's like Blake said at the beginning of Volume 2. She's like, they're not going to sit around and wait for us to graduate. Like, they're going to make their move. And if we don't stop them now, it's going to be too late. Which eventually it was. Even though they tried their hardest. But they're up against a force they don't fully understand the extent of. And neither did we until now. So
we still don't even.
we still don't understand the complete extent of what Salem and her posse are capable of. But we know that whatever it is, it's got something to do with the Grimm. And the Grimm are the formidable force in the world. They destroy everything. So once if they have the Grimm on their side, they can't lose, really. So, but I am interested to learn more about the Grimm and exactly where they do come from, and why they exist. I feel like something like the Grimm doesn't just appear out of thin air.
Yeah, but it kind of sounds like they've always been around.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of, but in the Volume 1... the very first episode when Jen Taylor's explaining the history of the world, she said the brightest lights cast the darkest shadows or something like that. And so when humanity rose up, the Grimm rose up with them. But I feel like something like that doesn't just come out of thin air. Like, somebody had to be behind it. Or they could just be an ancient force that's always existed. And that is now being controlled by Salem or somebody else or whoever, but we shall see. I feel like there's going to be lots of interesting developments this volume. There already has been interesting developments.
I was just thinking about this. So, in Salem's speech at the beginning of this episode, she mentions that the Maiden's powers are a key to her plan. And at the end of Volume 3, Cinder talks to the dragon. Yeah. And it seems to respond to her. But that was after she received the Fall Maiden's powers. So what if the Maidens are somehow tied to the Grimm? And, like, almost maybe, what if the Maidens are the Grimm's, like, generals? And that's why she needs them. Maybe. We just, like, everything is speculation at this point, but... Yeah, there's definitely something going on with Cinder talking to the dragon. Like, it definitely acknowledged and understood her. So, yeah, I'm not sure what that was. Like, whether it's got something to do with the Maidens or not. Because I don't have enough information to link the Maidens and the Grimm together. So... But the Maidens are definitely linked to Salem somehow. I'm not sure how that is. Because I don't think Salem herself is a maiden at all. No.
She seems very concerned with finding the Four Maidens, though, and either having her own candidates steal their power, like she did with Cinder, or perhaps she wants to convert them if she can, to avoid that. But I doubt I doubt the Maidens would serve someone like her. They generally seem to be pretty benevolent people. Yeah, I don't know. There is lots of questions to be answered.
I know. We need more episodes.
I know. Like, literally, the first episode came out yesterday. I'm like, ugh, I have to wait 6 more days for the next one. This is gonna kill me. Like, I need to know more.
I I actually saw a person complaining, like they're doing the whole like week between episodes thing, and I was like, every TV show ever kind of does
in
that?
history does that. Like that is the standard. Oh my gosh, yeah.
It sucks, but it's standard, and it gives them time to polish it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And produce it.
I'm very impressed with the level of polish on the first episode. I did not expect it at all to look as good as the character short, but it does, and I was pleasantly surprised. Like, considering that they've had the same amount of time as they've had every other volume to make even more minutes worth of content in a new program with new rendering and new shadows and a new art style, and they've come out and it looks that good, I'm really impressed. Like,
yeah,
bravo to the frickin' Kruby. Honestly, like I don't know how they do it every year. I don't know how they make the show look and feel and sound so much better every year in the same amount of time when they have to make more minutes worth of stuff. I don't know how they do it. Can you
imagine what Volume 10 will look like?
Oh, don't even, like, it's so far in the future, but I'm like, oh my gosh, what will the show even look like in 6 years' time? Like,
I know, right?
If it looks this pretty now. Oh my gosh. I remember thinking how good Volume 2 looked in comparison to Volume 1 when it came out. And now when I see Volume 4, I'm like, Volume 2 looks like a turd compared to this. This is beautiful.
I have a hard time watching Volume 1 again now.
I know, it looks so bad. Like, when I showed Jenna the Ruby trailers the other day, I was like, oh my god, this looks terrible. It looks terrible. And, like, the animation on those trailers was good, too. But it just looked awful. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and I remember thinking how good it looked when it came out as well. And now I'm just like, look at Volume 4. Like, yeah, no, I'm very impressed. The Kruby has really outdone themselves, and I hope it maintains that standard throughout the volume. I mean, towards later episodes, it always starts to get a bit sloppier because they're running out of time, and they're having to, you know, cram everything in. And they always want to focus more on the finale, but yeah, I feel like I'm very impressed with the first episode. There was hardly any moments where I thought that anything looked odd or anything like that. The animation was fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Everything was so cool.
Yeah. I'm really hoping they can keep it up.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I don't expect them to either, because like, it's just when you set the bar so high, like, you kind of gotta fall a little bit.
Yeah, they have set the bar incredibly high. The new shadows are probably my favorite thing about it. The dynamic shadows just help it feel give the footage so much more depth, and everything looks so much more 3D now. And just the amount of detail they've put into everything is just really phenomenal. I can't believe they've done it. And the lighting is gorgeous now too. It's amazing what good lighting and shadows can do for a show. Like,
yeah.
You look at pictures of like Yang, for example, from the 4 volumes next to each other. It's like, how did they do that in 4 years? How did they go from that to that? It's incredible what they've done. It just looks so good. Oh, it looks so good. I can't stop, like, thinking about just how good it looks.
It's just, I will never understand people who criticize it, because it's different, but different doesn't mean bad.
No, different, like, in this case, this is a very, very good different. And, of course, it's going to have kinks. They're still, like, because it's all new to them. Next volume, I feel like, is going to be phenomenal, because if it looks this good now when it's all a very new thing. Some of the shadows are a bit like when it's nighttime, the shadows are a bit weird, like with Weiss's shot in the character short, the shadows in that were a bit funny, but yeah, they're still working it all out. It's like they're using a new program, and it's all gonna. There's gonna be some kinks to iron out, but it looks so good.
Yeah, this is their volume 1 for this art style.
Yeah, exactly. Right. This is, yeah, in terms of how it looks, this is the volume 1 of this new arc. And, I just can't wait to see what it looks like next year, if it looks this good now. I can only imagine what another year will do for the new animation and art style. It just gets better every year. And they're getting better at the simple side of the animation. Like, the fight scenes have always been good, especially when Monty animated them. But the things like the talking and the walking, they've always been a bit... Ugh. But they're getting so much better now, which is good to see.
Like, even at that one shot where, like, Ruby falls down and she kicks her legs up, like, her legs moving were so smooth.
I know, everything looks so smooth. I'm so impressed with how smooth it all looks. I don't know what they're doing to be able to do that in the same amount of time, when it used to be not as smooth. I don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it, but they need to keep doing it. Because it looks so good. It's so worth it. Like, all of the work that they're putting in to make the new program work is so worth it. Because it just looks so good. I can't wait to see more. I'm really looking forward to next week. There was something I wanted to say and now I can't remember what it was. Oh, that's so annoying. Oh my god, I hate it when that happens. Mental blank. Quick, say something. Watch Ruby on Risty.com. Yeah, it's out for the public today, in case you didn't know that. If you didn't know that, you probably shouldn't be here, because it's spoilers.
Yeah, I know. We've literally talked about the entire episode.
Well, that is the point of this podcast. Like, if you watch this before the episode, it's your own bloody fault. Like, come and watch the episode. It's out for the public. The funny thing is that now you actually do have to have an account with roosterteeth.com to watch the public content. Whereas before you didn't actually need to have an account. But now that they've switched over to the new website, you need to. But it's totally free. You can make an account with your Facebook if you want. You just hit login with Facebook. Easy as that. Done. And you can watch Ruby and everything else that's available for the public and non-sponsors. Also,
or just get a sponsorship. It's so cheap.
I know, but like, even go and get your free 30-day trial. Like, if you sign up for your free 30-day trial when Chapter 9 comes out, for example, you'll be able to watch all of Volume 4 all at once and see Chapters 10, 11, and 12 when they come out. And you won't have to pay anything. So, like, but being a first member is so absolutely worth it. The amount of extra content that they put up, awesome extra content that's only for first members, is like, you are missing out on so much if you're not a first member. And it is so cheap. It costs me $10 every 6 months. Like, I don't even notice when it comes out of my PayPal. Like, if you can't afford $10 every 6 months, like, how can you afford Netflix or something like that? Because it is so much more expensive. Yeah. This is, like, the best form of Netflix ever. It is so cheap and so worth it. Because you get things like all the Achievement Hunter and Funhouse First stuff as well, like theater mode. Like, the sponsorship is worth it for theater mode alone. Like, it is such a good show. But I got it for Ruby, to see Ruby as soon as it comes out. But,
yeah.
You know, getting to see everything a day early is, it makes a difference. And also it supports
Especially
Rooster
in
Teeth.
just avoiding spoilers.
Yeah, avoiding spoilers, and it supports Rooster Teeth. And why wouldn't you want to support the company that makes your favorite show? Like, look at this room. Like, there's Ruby shit everywhere. It's over here. It's over here. I'm wearing Ruby shit. I have like 3 shirts, posters, Blu-rays, fucking CDs that I just bought. Beanie. Yeah, I got the Weiss one. Yeah, exactly. So, like, if you love something, why wouldn't you want to support it financially? And it's not like you're paying for nothing. You're paying for a lot. Like, there's a lot that comes with the first membership. So I would never cancel my membership in a million years. It is so cheap and it's so worth it.
Yeah. I was so angry when I saw on Saturday when the episode came out that there were people bragging about pirating the episode, and I was like, why? Like, wait 24 hours or, like, it's so cheap to just, like, RWBY can't exist if you don't support them.
Exactly. Like, RWBY, if you don't support the company, RWBY doesn't exist. Like, if people, even on the intro, it says, Rooster Teeth First presents. Rooster Teeth First pays for RWBY. Not completely, but it does support the production of the show. Without First, there wouldn't be RWBY. So, like, just suck it up and pay the $10 every 6 months. It is so incredibly cheap and so incredibly worth it. And, like, just support them because they freaking deserve it, man. They've worked hard for, 13 years now? How long have they been doing this? Fucking ages.
Yeah, long time.
I think they just had their 13th anniversary this year. But, yeah, they deserve it. They're such an awesome company and they make so much awesome stuff. And RWBY is just, the beginning. If you're somebody who watches RWBY and doesn't watch the rest of Rooster Teeth's content, you have no idea how much you're missing out on. Like, there's Achievement Hunter and, Funhouse and all. Like, there's something for everybody in Rooster Teeth, sorry. Like, I found Rooster Teeth through Achievement Hunter. Because I'd heard of Red vs. Blue, and I had seen a few episodes, but I didn't know that that was the company behind it. I started watching Achievement Hunter, oh gosh, this is going to make me sound really old, but 8 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched Achievement Hunter since the beginning of Achievement Hunter.
I got into it when I was 14, so 8 years ago, and almost 9. Oh my god, I'm so old. And I've been watching them ever since, and I watch almost every video. Because, there are certain things that I don't like, which is fine, because they put up a lot of content. So, and things like theater mode that are relatively new, but it's I just, I've watched them grow for so long, and Achievement Hunter got me into Rooster Teeth, and then that in turn got me into RWBY. So, if I hadn't have watched Achievement Hunter, I never would have seen RWBY. And that, to me, is RWBY's my entire life now. I couldn't imagine my life without it. Not my entire life, but, it is a significant thing in my life that has, for both of us as well. It's a huge thing that has, it's where our following comes from, and it's why people watch our videos, is RWBY. Basically.
It's how we met.
It's how we met! We would never have met if we didn't watch RWBY. It was how you found my channel.
I can't imagine not knowing you.
I know,
so weird.
This is what I'm saying, the things that you will miss out on if you don't take these opportunities. Cory and I would never have met each other if we didn't watch RWBY. And that is a crazy thing. You found my channel through my Red Like Roses tutorial, the very first RWBY tutorial I ever made, 3 years ago. I couldn't imagine not knowing Cory. I just couldn't, what would I be doing with my life if RWBY didn't exist? I have no idea. I certainly wouldn't have fucking 12,000 subscribers, I'll tell you that much. And I wouldn't know Cory, and Cory's my best friend. What the fuck? I couldn't imagine not knowing you. That is just that's crazy to think about. We're getting into really deep stuff now.
I know. Moral of the story: support Rooster Teeth.
Yes, moral of the story: go get a first membership, you cheapskates. Just kidding. We love you. Please keep watching.
Mom and Dad if you want money.
Yeah. Ask your mum and dad. Like, if your mum and dad are willing to pay $10 a month for your Netflix subscription, but not $10 every 6 months for your Rooster Teeth subscription, like, you can better believe I'm getting my kids a Rooster Teeth subscription if they're still around by the time I have children. But, you know, like, yeah. Get a first membership. It's worth it. Trust us. So we're almost out of time here now after all of that.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything to say to wrap it up?
No, I'm so excited for the rest of the volume.
I know, me too. I can't wait to see more. So, yeah, to reiterate, follow Cory and I on Twitter and Facebook to post your questions, and you can post the questions after the episodes go up for sponsors if you're a sponsor, a first member. I keep saying sponsor. If you're a first member, post them as soon as you've seen the episode. If you have a question, go on our Twitters and Facebooks and ask it to us. We'll save it and we'll answer it on the podcast. If you're not a first member, as soon as you've seen the episode, if you have a question, post it. You can still post up until, you know, sort of late-ish on this day that we record this, because if we see it while we're recording, we'll answer it, which reminds me I should probably look at Twitter real quick.
Yeah. Right now it's about 12 hours after the episode went live for the public.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have a question when you want us to answer, you know, tweet us, Facebook us.
Yeah, please tweet us.
Leave a comment on any of our videos.
Yeah, leave a comment on the latest video we put out, or like any recent video. We will see it and we will save it for the podcast. So if you have a question, find somewhere to post it. And follow us on social media, because that will be the easiest for us to see it. Yeah. I think that pretty much sums it up. Okay, so remember to subscribe to Cory's channel. The link will be in the description. We will both be doing reactions to every chapter of this volume. So make sure you subscribe to his channel so you see his reactions when they come out. Remember that they will be a week late because we have to wait for the episode to come out on YouTube because of Rooster Teeth's policy. Yeah, so reactions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, subscribe to this channel too so you don't miss the podcast when it comes out. Duh. Also, thank you guys, because the pilot episode of the Boopcast has hit nearly 1,000 views, which is insane, and we can't believe that 1,000 of you fucking watched the pilot. That was phenomenal, and thank you guys so much for being so supportive of the podcast. I really couldn't have asked for a better response than that, and we're glad you're enjoying it, and we hope you enjoy this one, even though it is quite long. Hopefully next week we'll have our first guest. I'm still working out kind of people's timetables, but we have a few people lined up. So next week you may see somebody new. We have room for up to 2 guests on every podcast. Also, if you're somebody who feels like you would want to be on the podcast, you can go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/SheNoob087, and there, if you pledge to the Patreon, not only are you supporting the podcast, but you'll also get the opportunity to maybe be on the podcast, which will be exciting. We'd like to talk to some of you about, and also if you're somebody who has like a Ruby channel and something of a Ruby authority on YouTube, send me a PM and we'll chat about things. So yeah, we're gonna have some guests, and it's gonna be cool, and we might have some special guests later on as well, but I'm not allowed to say anything about anything just yet, but it's gonna be awesome. So keep watching, and we will see you next week for the second episode, and we'll also see you next week for our reactions to chapter 1. So look out for those, subscribe to channels, and we will see you very soon. Thank you everybody for watching. Go and get your Rooster Teeth first membership, all that jazz, and we will see you then. Bye!
Bye.